You know how in the past DC movies were almost always terrible, yet the animated films were some of the best superhero content ever created. Their live action films constantly disappointed, but the animation absolutely thrived. Well, somewhere along the way, Marvel seems to have inherited that same curse. The studio has been releasing a string of low performing and inspired live action movies while at the same time experimenting with animated projects that range from media to genuinely great. Take X-Men 97 as an example. That show wasn't just good, it was excellent. The animation was sharp, the storytelling was inventive, and the characters, especially the dynamic between Charles Xavier and Magneto, were portrayed with surprising depth. That was animation done right. But unfortunately, that was the exception, not the rule. The majority of Marvel's animated projects like Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I Am Groot, both seasons, Eyes of Wakanda, and most of What If swing between forgettable mediocrity and outright disasters, just like Marvel's current lineup of films. There are more stinkers than gems, and honestly it's hard to believe that there are so many supposedly talented, highly educated writers could churn out ideas this flat, uninspired, and lifeless. Still, there is one bright spot in all of this. Out of all the episodes that What If has produced for Disney Plus, one episode stands out as not just the best of the series, but one of the best Marvel stories in recent memory. In fact, it was so good that I genuinely wish it had been adopted into live-action feature film. That episode is, of course, What If Zombies. The story was gripping from start to finish. While watching, I kept checking the runtime, not because I was bored, but because I did not want it to end. Every single scene carried an atmosphere of tension, dread, and suspense that Marvel has rarely achieved before. For once, it truly felt like no one was safe. Any character, no matter how beloved, could be killed at any moment. That sense of unpredictability is something we almost never get in the superhero genre anymore. In most Marvel projects, it's painfully obvious who will survive until the end credits. Here, however, the stakes were real. Even the humor, which is often Marvel's Achilles heel, was executed perfectly. The jokes landed, but they never overshadowed the story or undercut emotional moments. When the episode needed to be serious, it was serious. When it needed to breathe, it gave the audience that space. That balance is exactly what Marvel's live-action movies have been struggling with for years. The writer, Matthew Chauncey, deserves enormous credit. He's clearly a Marvel fan through and through, and he's proved with this episode that he not only understands the source material but also respects the audience's desire for meaningful, suspenseful storytelling. After this, he absolutely deserves a chance to write a full-length Marvel film. Now, let's go through the plot so it's clear why this episode was so amazing. The story begins in familiar territory. Mirroring the events of Avengers Infinity War, Bruce Banner is hurled through the Bifrost by Heimdall after Thanos defeats the Hulk aboard the Guardian ship. He crashes into Doctor Strange's mansion, just like in the film, but here is the twist. The mansion is empty, the streets outside are silent. Something is very, very wrong. Bruce steps outside trying to piece together what's happening when Ebony Maw and Carl Obsidian arrive to confront him. Just when it seems like he's about to be crushed, the Avengers appear. Except to his horror, they aren't there to save him, they are zombies. Bruce is only saved by the Cloak of Levitation and a small group of survivors. Spider-Man, the Wasp, Happy Hogan, Sharon Carter, and the Winter Soldier. They form the last line of hope for humanity. We eventually learn the cause of this nightmare. Hank Pym, while searching for his wife, Janet in the quantum realm, unknowingly unleashed the apocalypse. Janet had been infected with a quantum virus, and when she returned, she brought the infection with her. The virus spread rapidly, infecting hero after hero, until even the Avengers themselves were lost. For a brief moment, the group finds hope when they meet Vision. Thanks to the Mind Stone, he has found a way to hold back the virus. But the hope quickly collapses when the dark truth comes out. Vision had kept Wanda alive by feeding her human flesh. He has even kept Black Panther prisoner, cutting pieces of him off to keep Wanda satisfied. It's one of the most disturbing twists Marvel has ever delivered. Eventually, Wanda breaks free. In her zombified state, she becomes an unstoppable monster. One by one, the survivors fall. Vision, unwilling to destroy Wanda, ends his own life by ripping the Mind Stone from his head. By the end, only Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Surviving Head, and Black Panther remain alive. They set out for Wakanda, believing it to be humanity's last safe haven and the key to creating a cure. But the final reveal is devastating. Wakanda has already fallen, its citizens are infected, and worst of all, Thanos himself is now a zombie, wielding 5 Infinity Stones and waiting for the final one to complete the gauntlet. The episode ends with the chilling implication that he will snap, not for balance, but to feed his insatiable hunger. That ending alone was one of the darkest, boldest moves Marvel has ever made. It was horrifying, it was chilling, and it was unforgettable. And the fact that Marvel is planning to follow it up with What If Zombies is even more exciting. This is the kind of storytelling that Marvel should be focusing on. Stories that take risks, stories that make the audience feel like anything could happen, stories that no one is safe and the stakes are real. Honestly, that one episode was better than most Marvel recent live action films, outside of Spider-Man No Way Home, which, let's be honest, wasn't even entirely Marvel's project. Few MCU films in recent years have reached this level of tension and creativity. The truth is, audiences are getting tired of repetitive formulaic superhero movies. We don't need endless quips, recycled villains, and politically watered down storylines. We need something new, something daring, something that respects fans enough to take them on a real emotional ride. What If Zombies proved that Marvel still has the ability to surprise us when it wants to? That episode should be the standard by which all other Marvel projects are measured. If Marvel can learn from it, if they can recapture that sense of danger, emotion, and unpredictability, then maybe, just maybe, they can pull themselves out of the rut they're fallen into. Until then, fans will always look back at this single episode as a reminder of what Marvel could be if it truly tried.